Raging, what happened to you?
I got slashed too.
Slashed? Oh my god, looks like you went through a weaving machine.
Yes, sir. I got slashed too many times.
Oh man, what happened to you?
I went into that goblin cave.
Dude, I told you don't go in there. What's wrong with you, man?
I'm sorry, CEAZOR. Do you know how to get unslashed?
Unslashed? What are you talking about, man? I'm not a dunamancy wizard.
I just wanted to unslash my body.
Next time, just don't go in without any cover, okay? Hello and welcome to CEAZOR Snack Sandwich. Today we're taking a look at Unslashed Finance. Now, Unslashed Finance is an insurance protocol for DeFi users, and it has some cool twists on it, and it is kind of modeled after the traditional insurance companies and insurance providers, but it's got DeFi all inside it and so forth, and permissionless use case and so forth. So this is pretty interesting. So let's go into the docs and talk a little bit about some features of the docs. So here we are on the docs, and as always, I will suggest you to read the docs in full before you go and start using something like this. You should want to understand everything completely before you do this. I wouldn't want you to get slashed yourself. So let's go through this flowchart here, and I'll stop and I'll jump around and I'll show you a bunch of different things that makes this insurance protocol different than other insurance protocols. So we have two major actors inside here. We have the insured and the insurer. So this is where I kind of talk about is permissionless. Anyone can be an insurer and anyone can be insured. It's just a matter of capital. It has nothing to do with who you are, where you work, and so forth. There's no big company and so forth. So let's talk about the insured first. So the insured will visit the Unslashed website and decide which kind of coverage he needs. So let's go over to the website here, and you can see, oh, that this person wants to get covered. So he will go down through here and check some of the possible coverages he can get. So as you can see, there are some smart contract coverage. There's dollar peg stability coverage. There's validator slashing coverage, wallet protection. So all pretty interesting stuff. It's not just dApps, but there is definitely some dApps in here, right? And then there's also like some interesting stuff about, like I said, the validator slashing. If you're providing to Lindo and the validator makes a mistake and he gets slashed, then you can make a claim here and so forth. So that pretty much covers the options here. You can go through this list and find out if they have coverage on the protocol you're using. The list isn't very extensive yet, but I assume it will be growing as time progresses and there's more and more adoption going on. So I think it covers the insured. Now, if the insured does have an issue, does have a problem somewhere down the road, then he will post a claim. And now the claim doesn't get done by Unslashed themselves. The Unslashed protocol passes the claim to a third party called the Kelleros courts. So the Kelleros courts are the ones that will decide whether or not this insured person's claim is valid or not. And I think that's interesting because now it's not just the token holders of the Unslashed finance that have this decision. It's a third party that has no real direct invested interest in whether or not this person is paid or not. Now they might have tokens and so forth, and they might decide based on this, but generally speaking, it's a third party like moderator is good for this sort of decision. So that covers the insured person. It's pretty straightforward. You go, you buy some insurance, you pay your premiums, and then you make a claim if you need to. Now let's go over to the insurer, the person who's going to provide his capital so that this person can be insured. So this person has some choices, okay? So he can provide his capital to here in two manners. So if we go over to here, we can see supply capital. We have this, what's called this Spartan bucket, or you can focus your capital on specific aspects that you want to provide insurance to. So what does this mean? Like, let's say I have a whole bunch of ETH and I just want to try to get some APY on it and spread my risk across like several things. Instead of coming in here and choosing a bunch and saying, oh, I want some ETH here, some ETH here, some ETH here, I can just supply to this Spartan bucket, which is like 36% going towards validator claims, 62% towards all the dApps that are currently covered, and then a tiny bit in here for the exchanges. Now, exchanges are centralized exchanges like Binance and so forth. Now, you got to keep in mind that Binance has its own insurance already, so this is over and above that insurance. So if somebody has a loss on Binance and their insurance doesn't cover it all, then they can make a claim here for an extra amount and so forth. So why would you want to supply your Ethereum or your capital to this bucket to insure other people? Is because you get this APY of currently 9.5%. Now, where does this APY come from? The first thing it comes from here is premiums paid. So as people buy more coverage, then this is basically free money for you on top. So in premiums paid by the insured people. The second one here is a liquidity mining farm. So the USF token is currently being, farmed and incentivizing people to supply to this Spartan bucket here. And then the last one here is this, what they call this deployment of assets into management strategies. So what is that talking about? Let's go back over here. Here you can see asset management. So while this person puts his assets in here, and those assets are being allowing this insured person to purchase based on the premiums. Now the premiums adjust based on supply and demand. If there's a whole bunch of insurers applying a bunch of capital inside, then his premiums will be low. And if there's not a whole lot, then his premiums will be higher. However, if he doesn't make any claims, we don't want those assets sitting in here doing nothing. So what they do is they funnel them over to Enzyme, which is another protocol, which is over here. Now, see, as you can see, the USF fund number 1. So this is the current first fund. And what they're doing with this Ethereum is they're holding some Ethereum, and then they're staking the rest in Curve and farming Lido and CRV tokens and so forth. So it's kind of like a vault running here and producing some sort of interest. And then that interest is being funneled back to this guy here, to these buckets here, to this pool of capital. Now, there is one thing you do have to understand and you have to be careful about, is that if you do supply your capital here and a whole bunch of people purchase insurance, then your capital might not be withdrawable until those claims are either made or the insurance premium or the insurance coverage is closed or expires. So you kind of have to think long term if you're going to be an insurer. And then we have this USF token down here. It says governance. The USF token will be allowed to be used to build new buckets. Here we just have the Spartan bucket, but it does say more buckets coming. So maybe, they will design another bucket that has more more for wallets or custodians and so forth and so forth. So here are these use cases here. So they found something in the docs that talks about the different possible things you could get coverage for. And these are basically the choices that the bucket has to cover. And there could be more in the future if they come up with some sort of ideas, but let's quickly go through them, and you can pause the video, you can come check the docs, it's right here, and you can read these all in careful. But basically stablecoin pegs, as long as USDT or USDC keeps close to $1, then there's no claimable. There's no need for a claim, right? Custodians is any kind of time where you've locked your funds inside somewhere and they're holding the funds for you. Now, if you can see Coinbase custody, BitGo, Ledger Vault. Now, if these are hacked and the money is taken, then you can make a claim here. Now, again, these usually do have their own insurance, so it's over and above their insurance already. So wallets like, MetaMask or any kind of software or hardware wallet, Ledger and so forth. Exchanges, well, I talked about this already, Binance or BitBuy or whatever exchanges that they have coverage for. If it gets hacked, then again, over and above their local insurance policy. dApps, like as you can see inside the dApps, there are these like Compound and I saw Yearn, Paraswap and Bancor, and all of these were basic dApps. Slashing from being like providing to a validator, you provide to a validator, the validator makes a mistake, gets slashed, you can claim that slashing. And then oracles as well, like any kind of like chain link issue or some sort of oracle exploit, and then you can make a claim based on the oracles as well. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about is this USF token, the governance token that's going to allow people to make some voting and, participate in governance of this unslashed finance. As you can see, there is currently, you can trade it on Paraswap if you want, but it's like via the Uniswap liquidity pool. There is some mining, you can provide to this liquidity pool and get some mining tokens. You can go through here, you can read the allocations and so forth, and just keep in mind that they are incentivizing the use case of the platform. So they are providing some to this bucket here. You can take a look at this, you go a little bit deeper, read a little bit more, join their Discord, join their Telegram or whatever, read the docs and find out whether or not you would like to participate in this more. You can come through here. They do have a pretty healthy audit lineup. So far they have 3 audits, and I believe they have some more in the pipeline. So I think that pretty much covers it. Just a quick overview of what is Unslashed Finance, and you can come and check it out in your leisure. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.